But in the beginning, it's hard to accept that just shifting your awareness could make a profound change in something like that, a physical thing. So let's everybody think of an issue where you think, well, it can't really help with that. In the beginning, most of us are so used to focusing on sensation that we aren't aware that if you focus on your body, for instance, right now, there'll be certain sensations localized in different parts of your body. But there's the vast part of your body, there's no sensation at all. And if you learn to become aware of that, you'll discover that there really is this empty, open space inside of you. In fact, that's more of who you are than anything else. Just like if you dive into the core of any emotion, it's empty inside. The same thing is true even when you have very contracted physical sensations. But in the beginning, it may be difficult to experience that. So all I recommend is practice. As you go back and forth, you may not experience much space. But if you keep doing it, now we only did it maybe 4 or 5 times. I don't remember, I didn't keep track. But if you keep doing it, each time you do it, the sensations will fade into the background and the space will come into the foreground until the sensations themselves will dissolve. So again, with all these processes, I'm giving you the abridged version. Remember, I'm compressing 13 CDs and a 432-page book into whatever amount of time we have. So thank you for bringing me back to the question. Now, I totally forgot. What was I talking about before you brought me back to the question? What's that? Oh, okay. So, yes. So everyone think of a situation in your life that you're sure will never get better. You're sure is going to be like that until you keel over dead. Or something about the world you think will never change. Something you've basically given up on. And just notice how that makes you feel inside. And just for now, could you let go of wanting it to be different, of wanting to change it? Would you? When? And then check to see if there's any doubt that just letting go or the other things that you're learning here from Jack and the other speakers could actually affect that. And focus on that feeling of doubt. And could you just simply welcome that doubt feeling as just that, just a feeling? And could you let it go? Just could you? Would you? When? Okay, and just do that one more time. Focus on that thing and notice if there's any more doubt in this moment. That just letting go or just using some of the techniques that you'll be and principles that you have been or will be learning from Jack and company will actually affect that. Just welcome the doubt into your awareness. And could you let it go? Just could you? Would you? When? Okay. Now, I'll call on you next. When you're dealing with anything, if you're struggling a little bit, you can also do this. See if you can simply let go of the doubt that these action steps you're going to take towards your goal, this particular process you're working on, anything that I've been talking about, if there's some doubt that it could help with that, you can even let that go. And I've seen in seminars just letting go of the doubt that it could work, the whole problem left. Not just some of it, all of it. Just because the doubt was what was locking it in place. So one of the things that came up for several people as they were talking to me is an issue that I think will help all of you with what you're learning this week. And that has to do with wanting to understand it or figure it out. Have you ever noticed that the wanting to understand it or figure out will sometimes get in the way of really knowing what's going on or really understanding it? There's a thing I like to say about wanting to understand it or wanting to figure it out that helps put it in perspective. The only reason we want to understand our problems, and I underline here only, is because we're planning to have them again. Why? Why else would you need to understand the problem? Even if it's with process. The only reason you're wanting to understand a particular problem is because you are planning to have it again. So one of the most powerful ways to dissolve issues that you've been struggling with is to let go of wanting to understand them. In seminars with the Sedona Method and in seminars like this, one of the things I found is you'll have a problem with something. I'm not denying that there aren't sometimes obstacles that we have to face. But instead of just doing the best you can and working through it, you'll add this to it. I wonder why I have this problem. I wonder what it means about me. I wonder why it's here. And you often will create all sorts of explanations about why you have your problems. And I also want to let you know this about all your explanations about why you have your problems. If you have an explanation about why you have a particular problem and you still have that problem, that's not it. Because if it was, if you actually had a true insight about any problem, in my experience, when you have true insights, the problems disappear. So all those reasons that you've made up for why you have the problems that you have, they're now simply your excuses to hold on to the problem. That's all they are. Now, on the other hand, there's absolutely nothing wrong with understanding. One of the things, several people actually came up to me on the break and shared some insights they've gotten and how much it already had changed their experience. So I'm not saying don't have insights, don't have knowledge, but stop chasing it. What I've found with the work that I've been doing now for close to 30 years, I'll call on you next, is that when you're willing to let go of wanting to understand or figure out either this work or any particular problem, the answers come. But when you're wanting to figure it out, when you're wanting to understand it, that acts as a barrier to that knowing. Again, in my experience, we are already all-knowing. And that includes every single one in this room. We're also, by the way, omniscient and omnipresent, but I won't try to explain all that in the next half hour that I have. But focusing on knowledge, if you let go of wanting to understand it, if you let go of wanting to figure it out, the answers come. And also, there's a tremendous amount of tension most of us carry about the things that we don't understand, that we're trying to figure out, especially our problems. So let's do a release on that, and then I'll start calling on people again. Also, if we have time, I'd like to cover at least one other process, which is a very quick way of dissolving all problems. But at any rate, let's focus, everyone think of a situation in your life, a problem, an issue, that you've been wanting to understand, you've been wanting to figure out, you've been wanting to have the answer to. Or, if you can't think of something like that, see if there's any wanting to understand or figure out anything that we've covered so far today. And just allow yourself to feel what it feels like to want to understand it, to want to figure it out. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to understand it? Of wanting to figure it out? Of wanting it to make sense? Would you? When? Focus on that same issue or that same problem that you've been trying to solve. Or some other one, if you've already let that one go. Could you let go of wanting to understand it? Could you let go of wanting to figure it out? Could you let go of wanting it to make sense? Would you? When? And focus on that one more time. Focus either on that same issue or some other issue that you've been wanting to understand or figure out. You've been wanting to make sense out of. You've been holding on to in order to get the answer. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to figure it out? Could you let go of wanting to have the answer? Could you let go of wanting it to make sense? Would you? When? And if you're still struggling a little bit, ask yourself this question. Would I rather know why I have this problem, or would I rather just not have it? If you'd rather not have it, could you simply, just for now, let go of wanting to know why? Okay, you've probably all heard that you create your own reality. You ever heard that before? You probably hear it a lot here too. In my experience, you don't create your own reality, you create your own illusion. And unfortunately, we all live in our own illusion as though it's true. And one of the things you'll discover as you start to let go, even a little, and by the way, even though we have tape programs in the back, you don't have to buy them. And what I mean by that is, if you just use just some of what we've talked about so far this morning, and use it even just a little, you'll start to see miraculous things happen in your life. If you focus on how you feel right now in this moment, and notice how much more relaxed you feel, more open, more present, that's just from doing a little bit of this. I've been mostly speaking about it, not actually doing the process. We've done maybe 10 minutes of process in the past 2 hours. So if you can do this much for yourself just in 10 minutes, imagine what you can do for yourself if you keep working with this. So I highly encourage you to keep working with this. Just like everything you'll be learning from Jack this week, just hearing about it is not enough. It may be great ideas, but the next step is to put it into action. And so if you work with this even just a little bit, not a lot, you'll see very remarkable results, despite the fact that everything we've done so far has been really easy for most of us. But let's do something a little different than yesterday. Since you all have at least a little bit of an introduction to the Sedona Method, let's do a little longer process with it, where we'll go a little deeper. But I'm going to introduce something new at the end. I just want to explain to you what I'm going to be doing. We'll do some of the questions we've already worked with, and then I'm going to show you experientially how to combine visualizing with releasing. Because I know a lot of you are already doing visualization, but what I found is that when you combine it with letting go, the results are extremely profound, because you're letting go of whatever's blocking you from seeing the picture, first of all, and then letting go of whatever blocks you have to just manifesting it, creating it in your life. So allow yourself. Now, by the way, one of the things about the Sedona Method is as you get into this and get comfortable with it, you'll discover you can do it with eyes open or eyes closed. So we're not going to dim the lights, and you can keep your eyes open or closed however you prefer. And one of the goals with the Sedona Method is to show you how to tap this natural ability at will wherever you are. For instance, if you're driving in traffic, you're not going to do it with your eyes closed. At least I hope not. Or if you're in the middle of a business meeting and someone is saying or doing something that makes you want to wring their neck or run out of the room, you're not going to go. At least not at most business meetings. Maybe you can get away with it if you guys have business meetings, but in general, I don't think you want to do that. But if you learn to get good at this process and comfortable with it, even with your eyes open, what happens is then, whenever you're awake, you always have the opportunity to let go, to not carry the burden for any longer than you need to. And in my experience, you don't need to, period. When you're not letting go, we talked about yesterday suppression and expression, but it's also fun sometimes to have a visual cue to go along with the words. So I want to show you what some of these things that we're usually doing with our feelings look like. This chair, poor chair, represents our unwanted emotions. So here's here's a common strategy. Ever done that with a feeling? What feeling? Not me. I feel fine. Here's another one. Oh, and here's another one. Or if it's a bad day, oh, and here's another one that we do. Let's see. Oh, this is a Shelby Williams Industrial Incorporated chair for Morristown, Tennessee. Let me take notes about that. It has a crosshatch pattern on the bottom. I wonder why. And here's another one. Let's see if there's any other ones I want to illustrate. No, I think that's enough. But the problem with all of these is this. And actually, we'll also do this. I'm going to give you a chair back in a second, but I just want to demonstrate one other thing we're doing all the time. You can keep it. Oh, thanks. Mine's really heavy today. How's yours?
It's really heavy, too. Very heavy.
Now, the one thing is about, with this analogy that I haven't worked out yet, is how to show releasing, because when you let go, you actually really just let it go and it disappears. Goes back into universal substance, and I haven't figured out how to demonstrate that yet with a chair. So the closest I can get is this. And you wonder why you're tired at the end of the day. So let's do a group process together. Allow yourself to focus inside. And you can do this with eyes open or eyes closed, however you prefer. And could you start out by simply allowing yourself to be? And be. And be. And could you allow yourself to welcome whatever is being heard in this moment? The sound of my voice, the sound of the echo in the room, the sound of the air conditioning, the sound of the noises in your own mind, your breathing, the cough. And also the silence that surrounds and interpenetrates every sound. The silence without which no sound could be perceived. And then could you also welcome whatever is being seen in this moment? Now, even if you have your eyes closed, at the very least, you're probably seeing patterns on the inside of your eyelids. Or you may be having mental pictures. And if you have your eyes open, you see this room. But whatever you're seeing in this moment, could you simply allow it to be? Welcome it. Let it be here. And could you also welcome the emptiness or the space that allows for seeing? And then could you allow your sense of welcoming to expand even further? To include whatever sensations you're experiencing in this moment. The sensations of your feet against the floor. Your back and thighs against the chair. Your hands, whatever they're touching. The clothing touching your skin. the rise and fall of your chest and your stomach as you breathe. And also whatever emotions you're experiencing in the moment. Emotions are really just a combination of sensations that you've made up a meaning about, a story about. So could you welcome those as well? And then could you also welcome the emptiness, the space, the isness that allows all sensations to be. And then could you allow yourself to remember the memory called your life? Everything that's happened up until this moment. And check to see if there's anything that's happened up until this moment that you wish were different, that you're wanting to change. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to change it? Would you? When? And focus on that same thing or something else about the memory you call life that you'd like to change, that you want to edit, correct, maybe even pretend it never happened. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to change it? Would you? When? And focus on that same thing or something else from the memory called your life that you wish were different, that you're wanting to change. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to change it? Would you? When? Now allow yourself as best you can to picture your vision, what it is you're wanting to create in life. And do that with, it could be visual pictures, it could be sounds, using words, or it could be sensations, or a combination thereof. But as best you can, could you allow yourself to see it as though it is already done? And then first check to see if there's anything inside of you preventing you from seeing it clearly, from accepting it as a possibility. And if so, see if you'd like to change that. And could you let go of wanting to change that? Would you? When? And again, allow yourself as best you can to see yourself having being and doing everything your heart desires.